What's the worst piece of financial advice somebody has given you? One of my uncles once told me that I never really had to pay my phone bill. He suggested that I simply jump to another carrier and let the first company cut you off. His life has turned out exactly as you'd imagine. What happened? Don't know. He stopped calling. Just get another credit card. My friend who hasn't worked in 3 years and is currently just vibing with his new credit cards he somehow got approved. 4. A friend's family taught them to take out as many store cards and credit cards as they could, and as long as the minimum was paid, they'd be able to live a luxurious lifestyle. They were almost $100k in debt when they finally told me, from dozens of cards and interest, car loan, etc. Then did not want to discuss it further after I offered advice, lawyer, counseling. It's simply how their parents lived, life on credit far beyond means. I could not live with that stress. It's so normal for some people though. Ugh. This comment makes me break out in hives. I would never be able to sleep with that kind of stress. Once you cut up the credit card, you don't have to pay it. My cousin is not doing so hot. I'm pretty sure there are warrants out for his arrest in several states. I work for a bank. The amount of times I get customers tell me I just got a phone call saying I owe, but I cancelled my card. I tell them we never received a notice that they cancelled it, and they say, but I cut it up. Dude, if cutting bills up would solve anything, life would be great. I declare bankruptcy. My father would tell me to maximum my credit card on a new car, and if they asked for payments just say FM. What are they going to do? My father is several levels of debt hell deep that he's trying to get out of now, but he's at least trying. What are they going to do? Send me to jail? But like what really happens? These beanie babies are an investment in our future. 1997 I'm sitting in the office of my college job. An office mate's husband is visiting. He makes a phone call and starts negotiating over a price, like he's selling Manhattan real estate. Turns out he's negotiating the sale of a beanie baby with a 12-year-old. After a few minutes his wife rolls her eyes and yells, "Let the little girl have the toy." Hey, haggling is an essential skill. He was just helping the kid out. Spend it quickly or it'll get stolen. Coming from someone with a history of losing and blowing their money, or not even stolen. Folks who've never had enough to get by comfortably have a little imp on their shoulder telling them to spend it now, or it'll just go to next month's rent and you won't get to enjoy anything nice with this cash. My mom's saying is spend it before it's gone. That an emergency fund wasn't necessary when you can always get a payday loan or use your credit card. He wasn't joking. Anxiety, anxiety, anxiety. My favorite part of this entire thread is just you commenting about anxiety. 1976 San Francisco. Keep renting. No one will ever pay $35,000 for a 2-bedroom house and garage with a sweeping view of the East Bay. Added later I went back to visit the old neighborhood a few years ago. Those $35,000 stucco homes up many flights of steps perched on the top of Potrero Hill were now all gentrified, remodeled, gated, and asking $1M plus, and that was 5 years ago. And now you live on Maui. Yes, moved to Maui in mid-1976 and kept renting. In those days it was sweet, friendly, uncrowded and not too expensive. My rent was $700 MO for 3-brit/2 bay house and garage with a fenced yard in a nice neighborhood. It wasn't until 2000 I could finally afford to buy a house here. In the days when they gave loans with no stated income to self-employed people, and that was only after I'd gotten a real estate license. I was one of the few to survive the Great Recession and come out the other end with my credit intact. Today on Maui the median price for a single family home is $825,000 for $500,000, and below there are a few really decayed shacks. The sweet spot is $2 to $4 million range. About once a month the home sells in one of the resort areas for over $10 million. The buyers are the mega rich who are mostly only going to live here to vacation, and it does not make the local population feel warm and fuzzy. Don't take a raise if it puts you into the next tax bracket, and pay the minimum on your credit card to establish good credit. As others have pointed out, sometimes getting into another bracket or other threshold may affect other benefits such as food stamps and other government/non-governmental assistance. Mileage may vary. I was specifically talking about taxes. People at my work make it sound like working overtime makes your paycheck smaller than it would be without. Not a single time has this actually happened. There's a guy at my old hourly job who did this, but he did it so that he could discourage anyone else to pick up extra, and he'd try to get all the ot. We knew what he was trying, lol. He threw a fit if anyone ever got ot, and he didn't that week. He's over 50 and everyone else in their 20s. So when I was 24, I was financially struggling. I had a job that worked me a lot of hours, but only paid me $10 an hour. My parents talked me into buying a brand new 2004 4-door Honda Civic. The pre-interest price tag on it was about $25,000. A few weeks after getting it, my hours got regulated, and it took one entire paycheck to make the monthly note on it. I could not afford the insurance on it. I very quickly realized my parents were bad at money. I think that's one of the hard things to swallow when it comes to growing up. Your parents might be crappy with money. I ignored a lot of my parents' financial advice, and I'm so glad I did. They both made decent money, but borrowed against their house, bought cars they didn't need, and paid for other ridiculous things. They basically lived paycheck to paycheck. Being in my early teens and opening the front door to a bailiff/high court enforcer is definitely a low point in my childhood, but damn did it give me a massive preemptive sign to never listen to mum's financial advice. It's hard and sucks, but the sooner someone comes to terms with a parent who's awful at financial stuff, the better their own finances will be. This wasn't really their fault, because none of us, least of all 20-year-old me lol, could have predicted the fallout from the recession. I was in college when it hit, about halfway through a bachelor's degree. We are not rich, and I was paying for it with loans on a semester by semester basis. Friday, you could get a loan. Then suddenly by Monday you couldn't. Anywhere. Friends were dropping out left and right, unable to come up with the money for the next semester. That's when my parents gave me the worst financial advice I'll probably ever get. Take on a $25,000 private student loan with a variable interest rate of 11%. The logic was, we'd refinance it right after college. Simple as that. We didn't predict IDK if they should have known. It's whatever. That private student loans would be insatiable. No one would refinance it, and I was trapped with this absurdly high interest loan. Every year I'd try once, maybe twice, and I was always rejected for having too bad a debt to income ratio. The payments, plus the payments of my other loans, were too high to make anything but the minimums, which went straight to interest. It was like I'd hanged myself, but misjudged the length of the rope, and could just barely skate my toes on the ground and keep me alive. Barely. It took years to get out from under it. In the end, some 8 years later, we made the final payment. On a $27,000 loan I paid an additional $23,000 in interest at a 13% rate. Edit. Dang, woke up with that pregnancy bladder. Thanks everyone. So happy to have things to read while I can't sleep lol. A quick update. I'm in a great place now. Funnily, if it weren't for college and all this, I'd never have met my husband, who ultimately would convince me to change careers into software engineering and support me doggedly while I changed careers and turned the tables on my debt. It's no exaggeration, he saved my life. It's funny, I make more money now than I ever would have as a professional cook, and I'm, as far as the tech industry is concerned, not formally educated. I have about $25,000 left at a reasonable fixed 5%, and I think I'm going to pay it off this year. Just in time for the baby, who is getting a fund for college/life before the damn cord falls off. This one hurt the most to read. It was so frustrating. It's like they'll give you all the rope you want to hang yourself, but if by chance your neck doesn't snap and you manage to survive the fall, now suddenly you don't make enough money and now your debt to income ratio isn't good enough. I choked on that loan and the others for 5 years before getting it under control. But lessons learned. Life moves on. I'm doing really well, all things considered. Don't go to community college. You'll never get a job. Instead apply at X and X colleges. My grandmother, aunt, uncle, and cousin all told me this, and I really considered their advice because my parents really didn't give a crap what I did. Since I didn't get any scholarships from high school, I decided at least if I went to CC and didn't get a job I wouldn't have student debt and I could just do something else. I went to CC for 2 years totally free on FAFSA grants. It was $800 a semester lol, and did so well I transferred to a university with a almost full ride. I'm now a semester away from graduation with a job lined up and all of 4k of student debt which is likely to be forgiven anyway. Good for you. I'd give you gold, but as we're on a wasting money thread that seems too ironic lol. Hold on to those French francs, they will be worth a lot someday. I'm not holding my breath. Well, they probably will be eventually. In about 1000 years they may sell for something good at auction if well preserved. You'll be quids in. Only if well preserved and rare. If a bunch of people keep a lot of them well preserved, no one will care about them. My Phil, when I mention our retirement plan I never contribute to my retirement account. Money now is always better than money later. I needed to have a conversation with my husband, how we would not be supporting his mom and dad in their insane spending when they have no retirement plan and make huge financial mistakes on a weekly basis. Good news is they both make good money. Making good money probably means they are used to spending a lot. If you are in the US, Social Security is regressive at higher incomes and capped, so higher earners have a larger reduction in their standard of living when retiring without an alternative income source. Could be painful when they retire. Yeah, I'm scared for them. My Phil was laid off this summer, and they could only make it for the 5-week severance package he got. Instead of laying low he took a new job 3 hours away, bought a huge house, $70,000 boat and a new Audi, $50,000 ish. It boggles my mind that they didn't just try to live within their means. When my mom said that she will hold my money for me as a kid, my grandfather was pretty wealthy and gave us $50, $100 each birthday. My mom kept it safe for us. I'm pretty sure she used it at least once to pay the light bill when the power got shut off, so at least it went to good use. Never saw a dime of it myself. At least you technically paid the power bill then. Don't invest in a 401k. Luckily, I didn't listen. Yup, my husband was told not to because his job doesn't match, but 15 years later it's over 80k, so I don't call that a bad choice at all. My aunt took me to a car dealership when I was looking to buy my own first car. I was looking at the clunkers I could afford, but she said I should be looking at the new cars. She said, the total price doesn't matter because you make monthly payments. I suddenly understood too well why she had always been so financially unstable. I had a car dealer say this to me once when I asked the price on a 4-5-year-old car. The actual price doesn't matter, it's the monthly payment that you really need to know. Had a rhyme good mate, but cheers anyway. I walked away wondering how does he possibly sell any cars that way? But after reading this sub, maybe I'm wrong. I know a shocking number of people who are spending only 25-40% of their take-home pay servicing a finance deal on a shiny car, and when that expires, they'll get a new one. Just get it at Rent-A-Center. I had a coworker that got pretty much everything there. It's only $20 a week, and they'll replace it if it breaks. $20 a week for how long? Oh cool, so you're paying more than double for it? Got it. Even as a kid I got that those ads that came in the mail were a scam. They'd always have enticed looking electronics in them. So now as an adult, even though I'm poor, it baffles me that they are still in business and many places like them and get so many customers. Like what the hell? Literally just takes a calculator and you see you're paying way more than the thing is worth. So why scam yourself? And what gets me is that almost nothing they sell is absolutely essential. I saw a video of some people getting their living room furniture set and bedroom set taken back by one of these places. I mean, don't get me wrong, having couches and a dresser and crap is preferable and nice and all, but if you're so broke you can't afford to shell out the few $100 minimum for them at the time, then as a sheeted mattress on the floor, a $15 plastic drawer for your clothes, and a metal chair in your living room really gonna kill ya while you work towards getting your income up and or save for nicer things? No. The answer is no. They won't. We got bed bugs back in 2019. Those moths are costly to get rid of. We had to throw out all of the mattresses in the house. and I ended up having to sleep on a thick exercise mat and 2 folded up comforters on the floor for like 5 months before I could save up the $250 it cost for a new mattress and bed platform. Still alive. Sometimes it comes down to people just being incapable of being patient or going without, and they end up doing the rent-a-center or credit card thing, resulting in suffering even more later for their impatience. Join my MLM and make lots money. No. Anytime I hear this crap from a friend, it's the last time I ever speak to them. So true. I had a best friend try from high school sell me his MLM once. After I had blocked him on social media, I still got phone calls from him. I had to get a restraining order. I think the guy had issues. Put it all on black. Only bad advice half the time. Did this with a friend and came up 0-0. I started walking away not realizing I got half my wager back. Went to dinner. Afterwards we went back and put it on black again and won. So no win, no loss, rather anticlimactic putting it all on black twice and breaking even. Know what's better than winning money on roulette? Doubling down and winning even more. Me to me. And if you lose, just keep doubling your bet. Ding ding ding. Winner. Don't make more money, you'll go up a tax bracket and end up paying more taxes, so you'll end up making less overall. This isn't how taxes work, people. If you go $1 into the next tax bracket, only that $1 is taxed higher. You can't make less money by making more money. I had to tell my boss, who works in payroll, about this. Like, dude, was your boss by any chance trying to explain why you don't want a pay rise? Yeah, even if they've recently robbed you, you should still lend them the $500 they need to move to another city. They're your family after all. Dad, I don't even know how mom married your dumbass. This sounds like my mom. You should forgive him, as your brother and family is important. Was I important enough the multiple times he stolen my debit or credit card, or when he stole my identity and got payday loans online? The forgiveness she was referring to in my example. Spend whatever is in your bank account the day before payday. You obviously don't need it. That's what a savings account is for. Guy I haven't seen in 3 years or so wanted to talk me into starting a business with him because he just got into college for a bachelor's degree in business. Yeah, sure, let me get my checkbook out in this badly illuminated garage while we are both wasted. Guy also got into MLM and weird self-optimization preachers. My unsolicited advice in those situations: tell them to give you a call tomorrow to discuss it further. Give them a chance to come down from the alcohol and or coke. Get a bigger mortgage, you can deduct more from your taxes. Yeah, dumbus, and I'll be spending double that amount in interest, so why should I? Any advice to avoid taxes by spending more money or making less is ridiculous. Take out a student loan. You'll be able to pay it back easy when you have a degree. If my bank didn't stop payments on all loans during the pandemic, I'd literally be homeless, and they'd still be trying to get my money. Someone gave me the great advice to take out a loan to pay off a loan. I didn't listen to this advice. They are now is PS 80,000 debt. I'm not. It does make sense though. If you're replacing a high interest loan with a low interest one, it's not really paying off the loan, as you will still owe the same money to the bank or another bank, but over time you'll end up paying less interest on it. Yeah, but she started off with a 1k loan, then got out a 5k loan to pay it off, and also bought a bunch of stuff for a car and a bunch of other useless stuff, then realized she could afford to pay it. She got another loan and kept doing that, spending huge amounts of money on things she doesn't need to with money she doesn't have, and every time a bank gets on her ass about her owing them money, she gets a loan with another bank to pay it off. Crazy thing is that she has a perfect credit score cause she always pays off each loan, which just makes it easier for her to get more loans to continue the habit. A relative tried to recruit me into Amway. He wound up stuck with a garage full of their products. My mom joined and ended up having to buy their junk continuously. They also promised to pay her. She never saw a dime from them. Incite me to go to a real expensive restaurant where you can spend easily $250 without drinks at a time. I only had $700 in bank account and had not paid for my car, groceries, and stuff because come on, we only live once. How about we only live once on your dime then? since you feel so passionately about it. Because I'd like my one-time living to be long and secure. Oh, this happened to me. I was super broke, and my friends and I all went to this really nice restaurant after an event. I thought I would just order something small, because I only had $70 in my bank account. To my horror, we starting sharing plates. People were just ordering and passing everything around, and I was practically in tears trying to figure out what my portion would be when my friend grabbed the bill before any of us could even see it and paid for the whole thing. This was a one-off when I was super broke and literally couldn't afford it, but there was another time when we all agreed to split the bill, but I was the only one who threw down a card before we all went out to smoke. I thought they had put this in, and when I came back the waitress had run my card for the total amount. Same friend takes my card out of the book, flags down the waitress, and brings me a refund receipt. He paid for it all that time too. He pays for it a lot. Sometimes there are really crappy people who hang around him. We're all hopeful he gets it soon. Literally all of us would pay for our own stuff. Don't major in computer science. Computer scientists are a dime a dozen. I did not take that advice. I think the tough thing in computer science is finding a job that isn't boring as hell. Finding one to begin with that's also well paying is almost absurdly easy, even if you're a terrible programmer. Doesn't CS open up a lot of doors, not just being a programmer? I got $90 and my 11-year-old son told me I should buy $90 worth of kazoos. No real plan past that. Probably among the better pieces of advice on this thread. To be fair, you could probably flip them all for 100. An uncle told me I should rather spend my money and enjoy life, because you only live once, rather than save your money to build up a retirement fund. I'm now in my 50s and C0 Rona unemployment has devastated the little bit of savings I had. Should never have listened to Uncle Jarvis. All my homies hate Uncle Jarvis. 6/10 things on r/Wall Street bets are the worst financial advice I've ever gotten. And they would agree with you. And that's why I respect WSB much more than I respect subs like r/investing or r/dividends. People on WSB will totally own up to the fact that 99% of what's said there is total bullcrap, and that in all honesty, everything might as well be a coin flip. Can't the same for the other subs I mentioned. Take out a 401k loan to build a pool. It will raise the value of your house. At least you wind up with a wicked freaking pool, lol. Are you thinking his pool cost $401,000? Not exactly what the question's asking, but my mom has an aunt who thinks the bank is just giving you free money when you use the ATM. I'm not trying to be mean, but does she just have an actual learning disability or impairment? An ATM is a concept most 12-year-olds would be able to comprehend. I know people with actual learning disabilities who would laugh at someone who thinks this. Had a professor in this kind of bootleg college. He clearly took the job as a favor. He was some Wall Street type. He said he doesn't get why students who are young and have no assets don't just borrow a crap ton of money to pay for college, then declare bankruptcy, since they have no assets anyway. Aside from wrecking your credit, student loans aren't dischargeable by bankruptcy. He's saying to take out non-student loans, which can be discharged by bankruptcy. The difficult part would be securing that many loans without committing fraud. Also, it only wrecks your credit for like 5 years when you declare bankruptcy. 7 years. And you're still not exactly getting a clean slate. Creditors know you had bankruptcies, or can assume you had them given your age and clean slate. It's a banana. What could it cost? $10? There's always money in the banana stand. Go to college. You'll figure out what you want to study later. But if you don't go now, you'll never go. Frick that. What kind of fool spends $80k without a goal or purpose? I feel personally attacked by this comment. I spy a fellow undeclared major